Come on, now we're rolling. How you doing? What is up, everybody? How you doing? I am the big dog named Austin, and we're going to talk about some head coach hirings. Okay, look, the Indianapolis Colts, they've got their head coach, Shane Steichen. He's the guy. He's going to be the guy going forward. I think he's awesome. Some teams, they fired their coaches. Some teams, they were, they're in that process of hiring the coaches. I think we have all of these available spots filled now. So let's go over them. First up, Jim Harbaugh, fresh off a natty in Michigan. He is going to the Los Angeles Chargers. This is an incredible hire for the Los Angeles Chargers. Look, this franchise, let's put it like it is. I don't want to say they've been a dumpster fire, but they've underperformed. They've got a stacked roster. I think that they were one of the best rosters in the league, and they've underperformed for the last couple of years under Brandon Staley. And I think that obviously the what's that saying, the straw that broke the camel's back when Brandon Staley gave up a franchise high of points, in that game against the Raiders. Then he got fired, and I think there was a lot of talk because Harbaugh was at a funeral with Mike Greenberg, and he was ranting and raving on how good Justin Herbert is. Now, this was a number of years ago. Greeny came out and said that he thinks Harbaugh is going to go to the Chargers, and he was absolutely right. So Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers, but they will be in a loaded division. If you want to talk about the Denver Broncos, they have Sean Payton. The Kansas City Chiefs are the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the Raiders. The Raiders, I think they're going to improve as well. So this is a big hire. I think this is definitely going to change the entire culture around. He was in there saying, "Hey," in the weight room saying, "Hey boys, you hungry? It's all you can eat buffet." So Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. I think one of the best coaching hires of the year, of the offseason thus far. I think this will dramatically improve the Chargers team, the Chargers franchise. Kind of being the little brother to the Rams, kind of like the Clippers have been to the Lakers. But yeah, Jim Harbaugh entering in the NFL, he has the best win percentage in the NFL as a coach. Out of all the coaches, he has the best win percentage because of what he did in San Francisco. The second coach hiring, Mike Macdonald for the Seattle Seahawks. Look, this guy, they fired Pete Carroll. Mike Macdonald coming from the Baltimore Ravens. And look, the Baltimore Ravens have had an incredible defense. That has been one of their things. Under Mike Macdonald, 4.6 yards per play this past season, which was tied for first in the NFL. Scoring rate of 28.7%, which is third. Points per game, you all knew the Ravens had a stellar defense. 16.5 points per game, which was first in the NFL. Their quarterback rating against them was 74.5, which is not great. Well, not great for the other quarterbacks, but great for the team, for the Ravens, which was good enough to get them in first. Sacks per game, 3.3, just under 3.5. That was good enough to get them in first. So many categories on this list where they led the league. So he's coming to the Seahawks. That should be interesting. I can't wait to see that. A lot of people were saying Dan Quinn to the Seahawks, but it turned out not to be Dan Quinn. Now this one was a little more surprising to me because I'm kind of on the outside and I hear a lot of chatter about Bill Belichick. Now there was a lot of chatter with Bill Belichick to the Atlanta Falcons. They decided to go a much younger route. Raheem Morris, he had a chance to get a job last season. I think he had interviewed with the Colts. But let's see. At the start, let's see. So the Falcons fired Arthur Smith who, did, shaved his mustache or whatever and beat the Indianapolis Colts and broke my heart. So this is going to be a big hiring for them. I feel like Raheem Morris being young, he's going to bring a lot of energy to this team. So I can't wait to see that. I think this is a great hire. This is a great hire for the Falcons. Coming over from the Los Angeles Rams, he previously worked for the Falcons in 2020 as a wide receivers coach and a pass game coordinator in Atlanta. So, yeah. Raheem Morris getting a head coaching shot with the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like this will be good. Are they going to go in a different direction with quarterback? What do you do? Do you want to be Desmond Ridder? Obviously, I feel who was it? Was it Marcus Mariota? I don't remember. But the Falcons, they might have to look at quarterback, but they've got some talent on that offense. So we'll see what they can do. But Raheem Morris, more of a defensive guy. And I feel like that's what the league's going with now is more defensive guys as head coaches as opposed to a lot of offensive guys like Sean McVay and Shane Steichen and guys like that. So a little bit of a twist here. Now, Brian Callahan from the Bengals offense from we'll see. What was he with the Bengals? I feel like he was the offensive coordinator. Brian Callahan comes over to the Tennessee Titans. Now this one was a little surprising. Well, I want to say a lot surprising to me. I thought and still think that Mike Vrabel is an excellent coach. Now him being out of the AFC South makes me a little happy. Now we have the Jaguars and Texans to deal with. Excuse me. But I'm a little curious about this one. This is definitely good for their offense. Derrick Henry's getting up there in age, and I'm not real sure if is he under contract? He's got to be under contract. But they're a little, I want to say young at quarterback. That might be the proper adjective. I mean, they are young. I just don't think they're great at quarterback. Do you build around Will Levis? Do you or do you go in a different direction? I don't really feel like this for these first couple of years will be great for the Tennessee Titans. I don't see this working out like exponentially awesome. I don't expect any Super Bowl appearances through this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he will be the best coach in the league one day, but I don't know. Brian Callahan coming over from the Bengals, of course. Under both Jake Browning under center and Joe Burrow under center, they've both performed well. So you got to give a little credit to Brian Callahan. So we'll see what he can do. Now, after letting go of Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach of all time, the New England Patriots hire from within, and they hire Gerard Mayo. Now, I feel like this is a solid hire, but you never really know how it's going to go. You never really, because you have expectations. You have everybody was talking about how Mac Jones might be the next Tom Brady, and that's not working out. I feel like Bill Belichick may have been kind of in his own way. That to say, it was successful. He won 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady. But Bill Belichick, man, he ran the whole system. He ran the whole team. Everything went through him. And now Gerard Mayo is going to come in, and he's talking about getting everybody kind of on the same page, and everybody's going to know everything, and they're all going to work together. And that sounds great, which just kind of surprises me that's was kind of Bill Belichick's mantra there. But this is a solid hiring for the New England Patriots. I feel like a lot of people in the Patriots organization and the fan base, they're very happy with this. Now, they want to get back to winning because this is something that they're not used to. Is only getting 3 or 4 wins, whatever they got this past season. Yeah, the Patriots, they had a great defense in the better part of 2023, but I mean, they got to get it figured out on offense because they were not good. Now this one, who was crazy enough to pick Carolina Panthers job? Apparently Dave Canales is. He is now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and he will be the coach who tries to get Bryce Young to work out. Dave, what was that? Dave Canales, sounds like a news reporter, was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator. So he had Baker Mayfield this past season. He had Geno Smith last year, and both were solid. Both had solid career years. I don't know how to say. They both had solid years under Canales. So if that tells you anything, maybe this is a solid hire for the Carolina Panthers. I just don't see the Carolina Panthers being a very good team. I don't, even if Bill Belichick came in there, because like that David Tepper, man, if bad things are always going to happen if he's the owner of the team. I don't think that David Tepper is very good. Now, number 7. This is probably the last surprising one, I guess. Dan Quinn to the Washington Commanders. He was the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, and now moving into the division to the Washington Commanders to become a head coach. The Commanders, man, I think they're second pick in the draft, and we'll see what they can do. We'll see what they can do with that. You know, you presumably got to get a quarterback, right? So, you know, I think that Dallas' defense was one of the best defenses in the league, and you know that Washington will have that going for them at least. And if you get a good quarterback, and then that's both sides of the ball. So I feel like this is a good hire for Washington. Now, it's really hard to say out of all of these. Some of these could be a dud. Some of these absolutely could be duds. But it's, you know, they all look pretty solid hirings. Now, this particular website has Antonio Pierce, the Las Vegas Raiders, C. These have got grades. Worst NFL coaching hire in 2024. Now, ranking them, I can understand how you say that. I don't necessarily think that this is a bad hiring for the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce is a player's coach. He played the game himself. I mean, guys like Max Crosby and Devontae Adams both came out and said, I want to play for this guy. I want this guy to be our head coach. And what you can't get much worse than Mike McDaniels. He was awful. So I think this is solid. You know, I feel like the Raiders played well under him. Yes, they didn't make the playoffs, and yes, they still have to battle the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos and the Chargers with newly acquired head coach Jim Harbaugh. But I feel like this is a solid hiring. Like I said it last year, probably the year before, that the AFC West is probably going to be the most competitive division in the league. It has not come true. On paper, the Raiders look like they can be good because they've got Devontae Adams. Don't they have, Darren Waller's on the Giants now. Josh Jacobs, who's a really solid running back, and if you put a good quarterback in there, good things are going to happen. And a solid defense with an incredible pass rusher in Max Crosby. I feel like they're going to be solid. The Broncos, they're only going to get better because they're probably going to go the rookie quarterback way, and they came on later in the season, and Sean Payton's going to get that figured out. The Chiefs is the Chiefs, like I said earlier. But the Chargers, the most interesting team that didn't make the playoffs in this division, simply because of Jim Harbaugh. And I feel like if anybody's going to bring that team out of being a borderline dumpster fire team, I know that they were in the playoffs 2 years ago, but they blew a lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they didn't come close to making the playoffs this year, and they're picking early in the draft because of it. So, all that to say, these coaches, there's new coaches in the league now. You got some movement. You're going to have some free agency movement, so this is not over. These, as soon as the NFL ends, as soon as the team ends, whether you make the playoffs or not, as soon as your season ends, the work does not stop. Your scouts, your coaches, your GM, and all those guys are probably more hands on deck than ever before in that season to try to get free agency figured out, contracts figured out, coaching figured out. I mean, there's guys and there's pieces that leave and move all around the league. So this is a crucial time for teams around the league. Obviously, you've got the Super Bowl coming up. That's a crucial time. But, I mean, once the season ends, does it really end? Does the season... Yeah, you're not playing football, but you're still working really hard. Everybody, the players, the team, you know, the coaches, the general managers, are all working extremely hard. So, just all that. Great coaching hirings. I feel like some pretty solid hirings. This website's got Antonio Pierce last, which I don't think that's an indictment on him. I just think it just shows how... I think Brian Callahan might be the worst coaching hire. Or not necessarily any fault of his own, but the coaching hiring for the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. Like, I'm not anything against the guy, but the fact that he's working for the Panthers, that might be the worst one. I wouldn't want to coach the Panthers. I mean, I know 1 of 32, but I mean, ooh, man, you got to think. That's like I just don't feel like a head coach, would be set up for success in Carolina. And if performs poorly, you know David Tepper is going to fire that head coach. He's going to get out of there, and they're going to rinse and repeat. That's why I don't feel like the Carolina Panthers are going to be good anytime soon under Tepper, because he is not a patient man, not a patient owner when it comes to this kind of stuff. And he will fire Dave Canales if the results aren't shown. And I'm sorry, nothing against Dave Canales, but I just don't see the Carolina Panthers being very good. But that's all I've got. Appreciate you guys watching with me. Been talking for a little bit and talking about football, the draft, and the free agency. And this time talking about coaching hirings. I've got all that stuff on my channel. And it is the offseason for the Colts. We've got one more game left coming up. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, I want you guys to keep coming back to the channel. I want you guys to have all the information you need on the Colts and all the great opinions by your boy Big Dog Austin. But that's all I've got for today. I am the Big Dog named Austin, and as always, go Colts.